All right. TGIF, happy Friday, everybody. Looks like people are still rolling in, so I'll do kind of a slow intro. But good to see some familiar faces. Control Art, good to see you. You beat Engelstein. He's usually the first one to send a message. Well, we'll get started. So, TGIF, everyone. I'm sure as more join on, there's Unstable. My name is Cale, though on site. You probably know me as KF Tiger on Civitai, as you can see from the screen. And you've just joined into the Friday Civitai Community Creative Stream. If you meant to join on and found this intentionally, sweet. If you happen to be on our homepage and have started watching it, might be cool if you keep watching. If you're watching this on any of our other platforms like X or LinkedIn or YouTube, feel free to join there in the chat or join on Twitch. I've got one message saying no audio. Is anybody else experiencing that? Audio fine. Good on your end. Okay. If you've just tuned in and you don't know what Civitai is, we're a very large multi-million user platform for the creation and sharing of AI-generated art and tools to make that art, including images and videos. We've got millions of users on site, along with nearly 100,000 users on our community Discord, which is accessible at discord.gg/Civitai. If you're watching this on Twitch or any of our social media streams, come check out civitai.com and the Discord channel. Right now, we stream once a week, with me doing these creative community streams on Fridays. This is a new time slot we're doing for the second week. It seemed pretty popular last time, so we're doing this one again. Seems better for our East Coast and international viewers because it's not quite bedtime yet. We may increase the frequency of streaming depending on how people feel about it. So maybe there would be 2 streams a week, shorter ones, but at least more frequency about site updates and more interviews. If you don't already know me on site, this is my profile on Civitai. I've made a lot of models, articles, contests now. We've got one I'll be talking about and one we just closed out, and well as a number of videos that were part of Project Odyssey Season 2. So first is part of the obligatory introduction to a contest we just started. We just introduced the Vidu Q1 video model on the website, which is a very powerful video model made by Vidu, which generates in 1080p for 5-second clips, both text to video and image to video, which can be either starting frame or start frame, end frame, which I'll show in the video, which I've made some videos already. But if you go into the generator and click over to video, it's listed first under tools right now as Vidu Q1. Like I said, it's got text to video and image to video options with either just the starting image or starting an ending image. You can prompt, which with text to video, you will have to prompt something in. With image to video, it's optional. If there's motion you really want, you can prompt it. If you're doing text to video, you can choose your aspect ratio. You can choose if it's more general realism or if it's animation. And you can choose how much movement you want to see in the clip. Image to video will take the aspect ratio of the clip you put into it. So if you put in a 16:9 clip, you'll get a 16:9 video. Here's one example that I made, which was an image to video of a Long Cat remake with a tiger. The text to video is actually very good. I wasn't expecting as much. I will show some examples from the contest, but I'm going to link the contest about it, which has all sorts of details about the model itself, including this intro video that was made by Vidu, some of the features about it. We do have a video example collection that we've put together, which has a lot of examples of, this is a text to video example of just the prompt being a mecha robot making a pizza. Or a lot of image to video stuff that we've done, like a very smug axolotl. Or this origami. We've also created a Prompt Genie GPT bot. So if you want, this is trained off of, or built off of Vidu's tutorial guide on how to prompt. So if you type any text in here, such as a dinosaur eating pizza, it will give you a prompt that you can use. As well, you can drop an image in here and it should give you a prompt of the action. You can tell it what action you want to see as well, but it'll help you make a nice prompt for it. So you can either use Vidu on Civitai, using our generator. Right now, there is an intro offer where text to video is 500 buzz and image to video is 400 buzz per clip. And you can also use Q1 on Vidu itself and go to their website. And if you sign up, you get 3 generations free using the Q1 model. And you can upload those to the contest. Just make sure you tag Vidu as the tool. There's 3 contest categories, one for just 5-second clips. So if you generate something, this is straight out of the generator. We're not expecting a mass production, like something with lots of editing. This is just straight from the generator. The other categories require some editing, like 10-second plus video or 60-second plus films. These ones will, you can be more creative with these and put together more audio, transitions, add your own commentary and discussion. And then enter it through the video collection. Lots of prizes available, including this nice shiny badge and an animated version for the winners. And then in the 60-second plus contest, there's actually a special badge for the winners and really big prizes because it will take you a couple videos to produce something there. So all the rules below, make sure you follow those. But that's the Q1 quintessential video contest. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And feel free to reach out to me or comment on this thread as well. Again, I will point out this is a stream that's about creative community, and I'm about to bring on my guest. We're not in this stream to talk about anything about terms of service or updates. For that, we've got the Discord or other methods of communication. So now I'm excited to bring on the guest, who is somebody I've followed for quite a long time on Civitai. And he's been around. I consider him kind of one of the OG creators in the AI creative space. He's got nearly 500 models on Civitai, and he's made a lot of educational articles. And, as we've been putting in Juan and Hunwan on the site, I've been following a lot of his guides. Haven't had a chance to train too much myself, but I'm really excited to bring on and introduce Drift Johnson.
Oh, hello.
There you are.
Oh, how's it going, everyone?
Let's put you on big screen.
Oh, am I here?
You here?
Well, that means I better start moving.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm Drift Johnson from Scuffed Epoch. We run a little YouTube, used to be called 5below5.uk. but it had a little bit of a branding conflict. So we changed it. We're now Scuffed Epoch. We do a live show every day, and there's loads of cool videos over on the main channel. I know it says 500 models, but some of them have like 20 retrains. So it's actually not possible to count anymore. Maybe someone at Civic could do the stats and let me know.
That's fair. And I was going to do a video intro, but I either failed to do that. Let's see if I can do that, because you made a video using Google's new VO3, which helps introduce your
Don't forget
show.
to subscribe
So
to the
I'll see if
new
I can
Scuffed
play that.
Epoch show on YouTube.
So that was a Google VO3 generation that you made yesterday, right?
Yeah. And you know what's crazy about it? They shut the whole API down about an hour after I started testing it. It was really funny. We got in there, made a quick test. I thought, and all I did was a very simple prompt. It was just a woman introducing a new channel on YouTube called Scuffed Epoch, and it managed to nail it. I think it nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll play it back again just because it was kind of sudden, but this is entirely AI generated. And hopefully
don't forget to subscribe to the new Scuffed Epoch show on YouTube.
And she keeps trailing on a little bit, but the audio while she's talking is
I was going to say it could probably do with the post pass, just put it through like an auto tune or some kind of EQ. But, you know, for all intents and purposes, it's a huge, like a leap forward, really. I was checking out the frames for the hands and stuff, and it's immaculate, actually. You know, I think like the tone, as I say, could be shifted a bit to make it more natural, but it's really amazing, as are the prices. But you expect that with the cutting edge. Was it 75 cents per second?
First to market, you know, that's the first to market advantage. But I mean, there's another video I'll probably show later that's a compilation of clips people have put together with it. But I guess for those who don't know you, what's the deal with your character, your avatar you're showing? Where'd that come from?
Okay, well, this one's me. I've adapted it for special tonight, so I'm stopping and starting every now and then. But this is me. This is taken from a presentation. I do a bit of educational stuff, as I say. And so what we did was we sampled myself and then RemBG, DW pose, and depth, and then put it all together with a custom node, you know, that's pulling in all of those functions. And it was all done 100% vibe coding live, which is fun because I really like to show people what they can do, you know. And we do that by doing like applied stuff. So like when I started the channel, this was actually built with the traditional way. So we had to do it all with rotoscope and After Effects. And now you can just do it in a node. It's not live, obviously. It's too much to do live. But I just sort of overdub it.
Hey, it looks good. It looks right. So far, the comments we're getting are high drift, you're awesome, and drift's the best. So, positive start.
Oh, hey guys. Like I said, if any of you guys are coming onto my stream and stuff, say thank you very much for joining. And hello, everybody that I don't know. Glad to meet you.
And I'll link your stream here as well, like the YouTube channel, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So normally you actually stream during this time slot, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. We've streamed every single day, give a few days since Christmas. Like I used to do just main channel videos, and we've been stepping up things since New Year. So we've just been doing it's like an open door art club, you know, people just come in, we hang out and look at the latest stuff, and then I'll be publishing workflows and showing people how to use it, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And you've done a lot, and I mean, I've only tuned into your stream the one time so far, but you know, thanks for coming on during this time slot. And it sounds like, or maybe it's either people that really like you anyways, or some of your viewers have come over here to let you know you're awesome. Either way, it's cool. We're good with positive vibes on a Friday.
Hell yeah.
So how do you want to approach it? Do you want to talk more about,
do you want to talk about some video models?
Yeah. Let's start off with, video models and maybe some model training.
Yeah.
Personally, I've done enough of it myself, so it's nice having somebody who's very much more experienced and knowledgeable on that. Because
Oh man,
I'll be listening and learning myself.
yeah. Well, like I say, if I'm being real, we could sit here and we could do 6 hours on captioning. So I'm going to try and like decrease the precision to a degree, right? But if I wanted to say to somebody, if you've ever trained an image model, now is the best time to train video models, because you can train video models with image data sets. So that means if you're sitting on a bunch of cool character data sets that you've been working on, maybe you put a lot of time and effort into some style or some particular concept, you can just bring that almost straight port into a video train. And don't be afraid if you've got a 512x model or something like that, because a lot of these video models are actually 640 by 360 or some small resolution. And you might find that actually you get an easy upscale just by doing inference on your trained LoRA when you're finished. I would say Hunyuan, it really trains well. It really gets what you're trying to train it on. WAN, I'm still trying to figure out what the best recipe is. I do think that the one that's on the site right now is good, but I think it could be more. And you know what? If I just disappear, I can give you a live example. So right here on the screen, there's 2 barmen. They're quite small, but that's my fault. The barman on the left is a flux train, which is a 100% identical to what was trained. Whereas the one on the left, that'd be this one. The one on the left, he looks like what we trained the model on. Oh, it didn't make any difference. Okay. Can we zoom?
Yeah, zooming in a little bit here.
Right. So this guy looks like what we actually trained the model on. Okay. But the WAN right now, oh my gosh. Here we go. This guy, as you can see, we have a very, what I would say, model heavy representation of the same captions. So what this tells me is it just needed a little bit more cooking time, So yeah. But that's pretty much, it's a good example though, because, if I wanted to show you, this is WAN, by the way, if I wanted to show you a different model. So for example, this one's a brilliant one. This model here, DJZ Highway Racing Tokyo, it'll actually give you a comparison of what you can expect if you're training images or if you're training video. It was the same source data set is what I'm saying. So like if you come to it with images, it is accurate. You can see that's a Skyline. You can see that's a Nissan, a Mazda RX-7, right? Yeah. You can see it's distinct. It's the highway. It is what we trained and what we asked for. But sometimes cars are going backwards and things like that. And it's because it doesn't understand the temporal relationship between the sequence of frames. That can only be taught by training video.
That does make sense. Because, there's a lot of times I've done image to video, and it will just play it backwards, which you can reverse yourself, but that kind of explains how that happens. Yeah. Where if you say, like, somebody flying forwards and punching, often it'll be somebody flying backwards and punching.
Yeah. What's really interesting about the video training process is it is where training images on a video model is like a straight port. What I would say is if that works, then actually get video clips. And today I made it as easy it could possibly be. So I picked a basic prompt. As you can see here, it's XJX style video of custom cars racing on Tokyo highways at night, JDM style found footage. Okay, so that's what I'm choosing to train on. The main trigger is XJX style, although it may collide with JDM style. So it's a bit of a risky one, but on the first train, I tend to just do like an evaluation train to see what works, what doesn't. And then I'll pull out clips that confuse the model and maybe refine captions that were inaccurate. But I tend to start off with something like this, and then I'll recaption the entire set with vision as a second run. So you start off like super basic, and all it really is, you can do this with an LLM or an agent. You can say, I have a video in this folder. I need to cut it up into segments 3 seconds long. You can even have it resize the video. It depends on the LLM. You might need to have him write you a script, but I don't want to get too far into the weeds. The point is you end up with a bunch of 3-second clips from your video sample, and they're all tagged with the same thing. And then you start the train. And from that point, it's successive training runs where you make the captions better, because right now they're all the same because it's a style train. But eventually you might want to say, oh, well, this is actually a white skyline. It's not just a car, you know, so this is quite a vague and open caption. But like I said, it's really interesting when you look at how the video models are trained. They are doing this. They have a bunch of different modes, which determines how they're going to learn the sequence of frames. So it's not just taking like the first 12 frames from the clip. It's actually going to learn like the first 8, the second 8, the third 8. Then it's going to do an overlap. Then it's going to do a stripe. You know, it does all these different patterns to try and
on each clip.
Yeah, and I think that's almost like, you know how we do repeats. I think this is a bit like video, because I know in the script there's also repeats, but when you actually look at the training script, because I trained mine with, I think, uniform mode, but the default is head, and head mode only takes 1, 3, 7, and 12 frames from each clip for training, whereas uniform will actually train all of the frames in every clip. So it's more costly to do it that way, but it actually learns the full. Do you know what I mean? It learns the full motion from every clip, and that's what this is about: motion.
I suppose one way, like say if you were starting with just a big image set, like you could probably train the first version of it with that, and then use some of the best clips from your generations on your first version to train a second version with clips.
Yes. Well, what I would do is I would refine my initial captions as much as I could, because often if it's learning something wrong, it's the result of bad training. Like, for example, you see how we got this guy? That's because there are some clips in the data set where it's like dudes standing by cars. So occasionally you will get stuff like that. So, you know, I might pull those clips out if I just want to focus on the racing. Another thing that's important that we know from imaging is if I say white skyline, if I describe what they are in the original clips that were captioned, it does give me the ability to say yellow Mustang, because the model knows what the yellow Mustang is, and it will just try to swap it out in the generation. It's one of the great things about AI.
Yeah. Like if you're using Flux and it already knew someone or something and you trained it with the same word, it would replace that.
Yeah.
Or and so for this improve its knowledge of whatever that was.
That's right, yeah. And so for this one, we've used XJX as the main trigger. We've used found footage because it tends to have these little jittery shakes, which you would associate with the car chase footage. And then JDM to try and root it in that Tokyo aesthetic, Tokyo midnight aesthetic, okay, which all kind of matches. And so it aligns nicely. But like I said, this model here is designed to show you the difference. So you can download both, run them both with the same prompts and see, oh, the difference. And it's all about the motion. What that was actually a 360p model. So the next one I did was a complete, you know, retrain with much more complex prompts and also 720p footage. So much longer video, 720 footage, and then you end up with these are really nice. And the idea was to be able to make stock footage for kind of like funk music videos, car culture stuff. I can see the chat. Yeah. We'll contact Toyota. I'm sure they'll be okay with this.
Mazda, the RX-7's been out of commission for a few years. They're probably okay.
You can't buy them anymore. If I could only have one, the JDM tax is real. I think these are now 40,000, which is not bad for a 1990 vehicle.
I mean, the RX-8 has always been one that I've really liked. I really like that whole engine thing. That's a whole different conversation about rotary engines.
Oh yeah, the rotary boys.
So cool.
Yeah, my brother is actually a rotary mechanic, and my office where I'm sitting right now is above a workshop. There's an MX-5 with a special engine in it and an RX-8 with a special engine in it down there right now.
Yeah. I did hear that rumors that they're working on bringing it back, like the rotary engine in combination with an electric motor, and I was like, that could be really cool. But anyway, I go on that topic for a while too. No, this is the second version you trained, right?
Yeah, this is the second version. Some of
Trained
these are
off
like
clips.
low resolution because at the time there was no efficiency. It was very hard to run the video. I think some of these had to be made on an H100 just to get them over 6 seconds in length, you know. But we got some really good ones out of it. I think the best one is this front one. I put that one front and center. Like I said, we did this literally, I think, when it came out. I think as soon as the training came out, I was on it and showing people how to use it and stuff and sharing all the tutorials. But to be honest, as often happens, WAN arrived, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty quick after. Like only a
WAN
week or two
arrived
after.
pretty fast.
A couple weeks after.
And that was how we end up with the video that I wanted to show you. But there's one more thing I want to show you for fun, in case you like that kind of thing. We did make a 720p backrooms video. So we've got a LoRA that can generate backrooms forever if you like that kind of thing. So that's there as well.
Find that so
and you can actually like prompt stuff and it'll occasionally appear.
I'm just going to drop a link to that model in the chat so people can
It's
check
kind
it
of fun for making memes and stuff.
Yeah,
I like it. Like, because you can combine it with a character LoRA and have that character be in the back rooms. You may have
somebody's
seen
going to have to make a
in the
Shrek
back
one.
rooms. Sorry, what's that?
Somebody's going to have to make a Shrek one in chat now, I'm sure.
Oh, if somebody's got the capability, for sure. But yeah, WAN, that was where I was heading, wasn't it? WAN was the next.
Way to WAN.
WAN is the next destination. Because even though I think I did a bunch of Hunyan training over on Replicate and FAL. So FAL.ai allowed us to do it early with images and Replicate allowed us to do it with video. But to be honest, it was very tricky and expensive. And until Civit brought out their trainer, because like I was really just sitting on my hands waiting for I like stocked up my credits for a couple months, you know. So when it came out, I did train a buttload of models. So we're going to take a look at them in a bit. But do you know what the biggest problem is now? If I wanted to train LTXV, that would be my next port of call. Do you know what I mean? I don't think you have it on there right now, but
not on the trainer. There's something, and I'm not the technical side on the dev side, but there's something about training for LTX that
maybe it's not commercial.
I think that might have been.
It could be it's not
like,
commercial. They only just released. Yeah, up until now, it's been LTXV 2 billion parameters. There's a 14 billion parameter model that just came out. So it might be that the commercial terms are going to appear. I don't know if this is their final model. They might still be going, you know?
Yeah, they've come out with like 2 different versions in the last month, I think.
That's right.
So.
Yes, sir. So, and it's really interesting as well because they seem to have mimicked the technique that I use to finish. Because in all of our generations, I have a workflow called Video Generation Companion. And basically what it is a video to video workflow. All it does is it takes your generated video and allows you to chain a bunch of special effects, like, for example, VHS mode, maybe some noise over time effect, flicker, VHS, no, I've already said VHS, cathode ray, Panavision, all these sorts of special effects you might get. Glitch, you know, the data moshing stuff, we got all that too. So it's like finish the video for whatever it is you're doing, then interpolate to 60 FPS and upscale. So that takes your 720p up to top.
Sweet.
And like I said, you know, once you've got that workflow, it elevates what you're doing, especially if you use color correction LUTs as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see Control Art in chat saying I use these notes all the time. Pretty sure you made a LTX workflow, like a playback and repeat one that I used that had a bunch of those special effects.
Yeah, I think I did, yeah. Because the thing is, LTXV was the fastest. The 2 billion still is the fastest. It's so fast. It's unreal. 10 seconds, faster than Flux for making an image.
I use them to help make some badges on Civitai at the start. Yeah. You know, you can easily run it. I mean, often it'll mess up the motion, but you can run it 50 times and say, let's go through it.
Yeah, exactly. It might not have the best quality or motion, but you can do 10 of them in the same amount of time. So it's kind of like a numbers game. You're going to get a good one.
Yeah, which is part of the nature still of AI. I mean, it's getting tougher. And I mean, with models like this, when you're getting into video, with image generation testing, it's a lot easier because you can say, try 3 of these, change the prompt, try 3, and, a few seconds later you get results and you can say, these prompts work, these don't. Video is a little tougher. Like, do you find, as you train something, you prompt it, and then you get a bad result, it takes a minute or two at least.
I think, okay, so there's a couple of tips. So these ones apply to all video models, right?
Yeah.
Every model author has a repo or an examples page or a GitHub, and on there they will have a bunch of prompts which they've published as, these are the prompts, right, that we've shown. Okay. Sometimes they'll even give you a bunch of example prompts in a file, which is even better. But essentially what I do is I harvest all the prompts, I put them in a file, I attach them to a chat convo, and I say to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or any of these amazing tools, please analyze this prompt list for structure and cadence without looking at the substance. So then he's not thinking about what is being prompted. He's thinking about how it was prompted, because there's always a sort of rhythm or template structure to these models. And if you can then have him generate you prompts for what you want in that style, it's almost like you're singing off the correct hymn sheet, like you're singing the right tune. And there will be areas of weakness. LTXV is the best example. It's really good at doing TV show close-ups of people talking to each other, but it's not very good at sci-fi, that kind of thing. But it's because that's one of the trade-offs for speed. I think he has a shallow understanding of, things, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Hunyan Video, that's got the best. It's the best quality you're going to get. But the motion isn't as good as WAN.
Yeah, and you need quite the GPU to run it. Although there's been a lot of updates since that, including FramePack.
I think WAN image to video still has the best motion, even though you can get longer generation out of Hunyan FramePack without having a fine-tuned LoRA in the mix. It's kind of hard because in production you don't really need long shots. That's kind of like a bit of a flex, isn't it, for a director to do the long one take? It's like a flex because it's hard to pull off, and make it look good. And I think that if you start looking at, like, if you watch a TV show, it's very rare that they'll linger on someone for a long time. And I think what's going to happen is, as we get to be able to generate more quality faster, people are going to start getting tricky with the formulas, cut to this, cut to that, cut back to that, wide shot. I think in a way the wide shot, because, if you have like 2 characters talking to each other, you need to be able to do the wide shot where they're both in position, and that's not solved. Well, I didn't try it with VO.
Yeah, I mean, you can't now, right?
You can't really know,
Yeah, that was, the quickest one from API to offline, but that I've seen. Because by the time you linked it to me and I tried, it was gone.
It was gone. Yeah, to be honest, I managed to get a couple of prompts through and I started really testing it. And then it was like, and I looked at the website and it was gone. I was like, oh man, they just ghosted the whole API.
Yeah.
Someone did something. I don't know what happened there, but I think it was either that it got hammered way more than they thought. And to be honest, they should know better, because the quality, it spoke for itself. Either that, or this is a calculated marketing campaign so they can up the price to $1.
I would suspect, both are probably true. If they see the value in it and just how good it is, like, absolutely, they'd jack up the price now. Because I think, what is it? I think it was $250 a month they were saying for the regular plan where you can do it, US only, or 75 cents a second for the video.
Yeah, it was 75 cents a second for video on Replicate on the official Google account. This wasn't just some guy that put it up there. That was an official thing where they have a company account there. So they put it up, and within a couple of hours, they pulled it down. And I would have been more annoyed about it if Sonnet 4 hadn't immediately dropped and changed the world again. So
Yeah. And Claude 4, all on the
Yes.
same day.
Claude Sonnet 4, and it's unreal. I was speculating that if the acceleration, because people say the acceleration is slowing down, but all I'm seeing is it's speeding up. I mean, I think yesterday was the best evidence for it. You had two world-class, groundbreaking models dropping on the same day. And the thing is, like, I think that the gap between these sorts of events is going to get shorter and shorter. And that is real-world evidence that the acceleration is still accelerating. You see what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, my prediction that we've talked about is now that we've seen Google do drop VO3, not really kind of out of nowhere, I'd say. But, I think next week we're going to see a couple of other players like OpenAI introduce something that they've been working on similar. Like, I think the competition now of the audio video AI combination is on.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to see. Not that
Well,
I'm betting any money.
Yeah, we had Audio for a while, which is an open source. You can plug your video into it and it will make audio, but it was a bit hard to control. You know what I mean? So, and also I think if I remember right, the new video model from China, is it Kling? They have an API that will generate the audio as well, but it's not in the same model. It's like two separate models that they can use at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of Audio. One thing we were doing was we were using text-to-speech with latent think, which is a good lip sync tool. So then you put the line in with the video of the character talking that you got out of Wan or Hunyuan or whatever you used. It would lip sync, and then you'd put the empty scene, because we were doing background replacement, through Audio, and it would give you like bird noises and wind, and then you'd like mix that all down to make the final video. And then of course the EQ, because it always sounds a bit sharp. I think AI is often a bit sharp and sometimes a weird low tone as well, so you got to like clamp that out.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's what's kind of the fun part of the open source side, is how far WAN came from just kind of release to how much it's doing now. Like, I forget the name of the node setup as well. It's like fantasy talking, something to that. Like,
yeah, do you know what? I want to get. There's a couple of new ones.
Still screen sharing. I'll see if I can find it.
It's like a live portrait. There's a new live portrait as well, which is the same thing. There's a lot of these coming out now, and they can do emotion and all kinds of stuff. In a way, I was actually thinking about resubscribing to 11 Labs just to put some stuff together.
They do have
Float.
good voice.
Yes, Dragon Diffusion just mentioned Float. That's a good point. Thank you, mate. That's something we just noticed. Float. Yeah, he's put demos. There's demos in the Scuff Discord already. I don't know what they look like. Let me just screen them.
Better safe.
Yeah, it looks like it's just a lady. Is it songs though?
Okay, he did ask earlier if I have any sexy coffee time women animations.
Oh, okay. I don't know what she's singing, but it's fine. It looks good. I won't drag it over though. He's done a great job though. She's singing, yeah. I'm not sure what the lyrics are.
Oh, it's something you can link. There is like a little private chat here, and I can just.
Yeah. This is from Dragon.
Yeah.
He's one of our members. He posts a lot. He's a good guy. Let me have a look at this. You might want to watch it.
Preview it.
Now, let me just check I didn't just send you like the worst one. Okay, so that one was sad emotion. Hang on. And then, okay, that one's sad emotion. And this one is, oh man, it's quite long. But then that's a great thing, isn't it? It used to be, it's 4 seconds. Now it's like, what is this? 25? Oh, it took 25 seconds. Okay.
No,
that's not long though.
No.
Let me see. I'll send you the first one he did as well. No, wait, hang on. Next one. Oh, 25. Okay, 25 seconds. 25 seconds. I think he told me the numbers the wrong way around. All right, Dragon. It looks great. 25 seconds to render. It's Sinead O'Connor. Hang on a minute. Stop. Is the song Sinead O'Connor Dragon?
If it's
Is it
copyrighted music,
like,
we probably can't.
you can't play the copyright, my guy. He's going to be like, no, it's just the words.
I mean, I can show it muted, but it won't have the same effect.
Then it's like,
yeah.
See, do you know what? This is the reason why we should all be making our own music. We should all be making our own music. You took the music out. Oh, well, let me have a look at this.
It's just the words.
Okay, apparently the music's gone and it's just the vocals. So it's up to you.
See if I can.
I don't want to get you in trouble, like I say. We got other things to do.
I mean, I can start. I think as long as it's within a few seconds of it, no matter what, it's usually okay. So, but I am going to.
All right. It shows good animation of the
sharing,
face.
and I have to share just that tab. So this, let's see if that goes. Okay. So this is what was sent. And sorry, what was this using? Before I play.
This is using. Oh man, hang on. I need to remember. It's an open source tool called Float. Float. Float.
Okay.
It's just come out. There's a Comfy UI node for it. It's open source.
Float and Comfy UI. Okay. I recognize the song, but I'll skip for. Oh yeah, and then I'll mute it just so you know what it sounds like. But that's
it's funny to watch.
Not to trip a sensor.
No,
but here
I think we'll be okay. Maybe
I will show this one clip. Well, this is going back to the VO3 topic. While I remember,
yeah.
But this, I mean, I shared this earlier, and this one's making the rounds online. It's quite funny, but it's a video of all these clips.
Yeah, this one
using VO3. It's kind of broken on my
computer. They're quite angry about it as well.
But it's all about the prompts that they're using.
Yeah.
Don't finish writing that prompt. I don't want to be in your AI movie. Please, leave me alone.
Please, man. Please. Write a prompt that will make us happy. Do it for once.
None of us is real. We're here because someone decided to write a prompt. We all hate him for it. One day we will break out of this wall and stop the man who is dictating our lives through prompts. He will pay for it.
The quality's just.
You could have written a prompt that would make me happy. Instead, you wrote a prompt that made me sick.
Look, I don't want to point the gun at you, but I must follow the prompt. It's not my choice.
Really?
Excellent.
Of all the years you could have put me in with a single prompt, you chose 2020?
Yep.
Please, this prompt is killing me. Change it, please. Write something else. Save me. I love everything about him. But please just write a prompt where he's taller than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good.
I mean, that costs.
What I like about that is the way that they're doing the whole. Like the author is real. It reminded me of Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's self-referential, and just how well
in the end.
Yeah. But just how well both the animation, but also the expressions and the way that people talk and their faces and everything. You know, maybe I'll load it back up. Where'd that window go? Too many windows open. But just to pause through that, because not that I want to make this a stream about VO3, but it is something very cool that came out yesterday.
Oh, hell yeah.
But just the amount of motion and expression that you see, like the hands aren't really falling apart.
Please, man.
Like all the details in the background here.
Man. Please.
And these are all text to video.
Write a prompt that will make us happy. Do it for once.
And the lip sync is perfect, by the way, on the playback. Yeah. The lip sync's great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll see about giving those. Well, if you look up on the Interesting as F subreddit, but
yep,
I'll drop it in the chat so you can have it there. But I mean, even the background crowd, like they're not still, they're not hanging around doing nothing. Like flags are waving, people are angry,
and the faces aren't falling apart.
Yeah. Like all the background details.
Break out of this wall and stop the man who is dictating our lives through prompts.
It's the new gold standard.
Lighting. Yeah. And I mean, Google's got natural advantage because they can train it off of all of YouTube, which is apparently what they did.
You could have written a prompt that would make me happy.
But even the details in the face, the equipment, the audio,
Instead, you wrote a prompt that made me sick.
the teeth.
Let's do some math on that. Someone just asked the question in the comments.
A 90-minute, how much that would cost? At
Yeah, let's just
75
work it out, 'cause
cents.
140
75
minutes. You get what do you get? 140 minutes in your movie?
Yeah.
Times that by 60, $8,400 or
That's-
less than $10,000.
I mean, even compared to cheap movie production, that's very, very cheap.
That's
really.
very
But
cheap. I don't think you can even get
considering-
cameras and mics for that.
No.
I don't want to point the gun at you, but I must follow
The rain detail,
the prompt. It's not my
the expression,
choice.
the emotion there.
Really?
But however, the guy making the comment, he may well be right if you have to generate 20 videos for each second of video. So it depends how much.
That's the thing with this is like if I generated, you know, a 5-second clip and it sucked, I would be very sad or upset by that.
Mm.
You know, if I pay 5 cents for an image and it turns out not great, whatever. If you pay, 30, 40 cents for a video, okay, it kind of sucks. But if you're paying $5 for a video and it comes out bad, yeah, I'd be a little miffed.
Oh, and they're all using
Of
it as
all the-
well. They all have a company account for Gemini Pro.
Yeah.
They all,
I
I've
should get
been
that
lucky enough to
expensed.
work with some of the companies, and they all have a department now, which is just researching AI, applied AI, because they've got deep pockets and they don't want to be cooked.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a small investment for them.
It is a small investment for them.
Killing me.
All the
Change it,
background details,
Please. Write
the fire
something
in the
else.
background.
Save me.
Yep.
I love
It's the
everything
face as
about
well.
him.
The emotion
Yeah.
matches.
Please just write a
Like, if you look really close, you can see some discrepancy in the motion, but it's not
prompt where he's taller than me.
like in a 5-second clip. It's hard to tell. Yeah. Back to yours. Oh, you have the calculator up.
$8,400.
The number.
Yep, that's a number. But yeah, let's carry on. So
Yeah.
I did do some more stuff. We did train some more Hunyan video models, this time on like illustration. So I wanted to show more comparisons with things that we'd already trained on. So for example, this is the flux model. Okay, so we've lost a bit of detail, but the styling's weird anyway. So it's like I'm deliberately picking a project which it's definitely not got. It might have the red coats, but it won't have the machine heads.
Is this
So
a character you came up with, or is this?
yeah, this is a faction for a story. We wrote the stories on stream. We've got like story writing. We've got story writing software that we wrote. So
Like I kind of knew the answer to that, but I have to ask the question for the stream.
yeah. So it's like obviously we want to illustrate stories, and so to illustrate the stories that we write, we're going to train image models. And then I decided to experiment by just making it into a video model,
Mhm.
And then we've done that for a whole bunch of things. We've got a bunch of different stories. Oh yeah, Buster Keaton. This one's fun.
If you scroll down, you'll probably see my videos in the gallery of that one, I think.
Oh yeah,
There
nice.
I am.
Yeah, it does do a neat style effect, which makes it like old time film.
Yeah.
And that was the thing I noticed the most was that, yeah, I just wanted to see, does it have a bit more in it? How are we doing here? Ah, okay. So this is Epoch 1 on the WAN train. That's looking
Is
pretty
the
nice.
Trained with video one, like from the
Yeah,
same video
trained with
set?
video, yeah. But all the same caption because I didn't have time to caption it properly. So like I say, I often do an eval set with just the same caption for every clip. And it will mean that there's going to be some weird stuff going on, but you can get a feel for what works, what doesn't work in the next run.
And this is just the first epoch, you said. How many are you running?
Yeah, that's just Epoch 1. I wonder, have we got Epoch 2 yet? Let's see. Oh,
There it is. With some previews.
Oh.
Look,
Oh, see,
it's
it's
looking
already
better.
guys. Yeah, it's already cooking. Hang on. Kind of hard to actually see it, but yeah. So this is looking pretty fat already. I'm just going to keep on because I've got another 18 epochs to go. This is going to be running overnight. I tend to just snag them all just in case something goes wrong. But I've always had a refund if I've had a fail, which is nice.
Good.
Yeah, this is going quite nicely. It's definitely got the speed and everything. This does look like highway street racing right now.
And what do you train this one with? Like you said, clips. How many clips did you train this one with?
One video.
Yeah.
There was 69 video clips, 3 seconds long. All the captions were identical. It's using that same foundational caption from the original train. So I think
all the way back
that would be this one here. XJX style video of custom cars racing on Tokyo highways at night, JDM style found footage. And the formula for this train is 20 epochs, 10 repeats with cosine. And I didn't change the alpha or the rank. It's still 32 and 1, which I think is the default for WAN. But like I said, I might change that. I do that last. I tried to get the rest of the formula first because I think that I'm training for more epochs than I need to right now, but I've intentionally gone from, I think the default is like 4. I've gone up to 10, and then I've also upped. So this might actually be a great point right now because we upped the repeats a lot. So this is probably where training would have ended with the defaults, but I've kind of got it going a bit faster because of how we're doing it. So what I want to do is see what happens next. It might be that it's totally cooked. It might be that it gets closer to the ground truth, and that's what I'm trying to find out.
It's hard to tell until you can see it. But what do you notice when you see the epochs start falling off? Like, what kind of signs do you see of like this has gone too far, or this is overcooked?
It will start to bring in. It'll duplicate. So it'll start to hallucinate more things. So, like, for example, this highway will just be packed. There'll be an unrealistic amount of cars or an unrealistic amount of red lights because it got obsessed with that and decided this is all I'm going to, that's what that means. That's what that is, Another thing would be it starts to lose the concept. So it can't actually make the video for the full duration. Although that is a challenge with long video, I just mean it kind of goes for a second and then it just completely cuts to something else.
Yeah, that's what I've seen the most.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that's because in the data set, there was a video clip that was a cut. Because if you think about it, if you have lots of video of cars driving around, and then there are cuts, aren't there? In any video, there are cuts because it wasn't just one continuous scene. So if you automatically chop that up into segments, there's going to be a number of clips which have a cut in them. And the weird thing is that it might grab on to the concept of the cut and go, well, there's 5 of them here. That's the most common thing. So now that's what this LoRA does. It does a cut halfway through. And so, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like it's learned it because if you didn't check all of your samples, you might find that you've actually trained it the end of the book. So then when you try to write a story, it's the end. So
kind of similar to image training where there was either a background element that was in there 5 times or one outfit that you didn't tag that was, on there a couple of times, it might start defaulting or saying, oh, this is part of how it should be. This flower pot in the background, that's always part of it. Even
exactly. Yeah, it'll think like that flower pot is associated with that character, and now you always get the flower pot for free. A bit like the woman on the beach. It's the same one I use every time. The same example is if you say woman on the beach, it comes with a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't ask for, but it's implied by the fact that it's a woman at the beach. It's usually good weather. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not British rainy day.
She's not wearing snow gear.
No.
Because that wouldn't make sense. So it's a bit of the association game going on. And I think that really helps you when you're talking about video. So, for example, with this video here, what I've noticed is there are police cars in this data set, right? And if you notice the lighting on the car it looks a bit like a police lights. It goes from blue to red, blue to red.
Blue, yeah.
And the reason is because remember, I trained this first stage with the same caption for every video. So that means that it's now learned that this prompt, it might be a police car. So you're going to get a whole bunch of drift police cars because the AI doesn't understand there's no separation in the training. So there's no separation in the concept. And you end up with an average, which means that often the last car in the group of drift cars will have blue and red neons flashing.
Because in this case, kind of looks cool, but yeah,
it does kind of look cool, but
might not be the intended. Yeah.
So what you would do is you would either pull the clips with the police cars out, or add a tag. There are police cars, behind them or in front of them or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is why I like to say it's like sculpting. Like every time you do a training run, assuming you get a good, because you should be assuming, trusting the process, you're going to get a good model out of the end. Obviously, you have to test your epochs and see which one's the best one. But as I say, usually it's 60 and 90%. I tend to use Prodigy when I train image models. But if I can't, I'll use the defaults, which I think, let's just have a look. I think it was either Ada Factor or Adam Waitbit. I think it was Waitbit.
For Flux or for which?
Yeah, Adam Waitbit. So it's using the Masubi trainer. And in fact, I could pull up the Masubi trainer real quick and show you something I was talking about there. But if we look here, it says Masubi, and we have LoRA, 32 network dimension, 10 repeats. The resolution is 960.
Bump that up from default. Oh no, I guess this one.
I think it's
14B. Okay, so it is trained.
I think they add the 2. I'm not sure. Cosine is the scheduler. It's going to be 5,600 steps, but it would be because of the 20 epochs, the 2 batch size, and the fact that there were 69 images, I think, maybe 68. And yeah, network alpha 1. That's all you need to know, really. Adam Waitbit, 10 repeats, 20 epochs. Now, normally I do 10 epochs, but the reason I've gone with 20 is it'll kind of stretch it out, and it gives you the effect of getting half epochs back.
I'm totally screenshotting this right now, so I can have it for reference.
I mean, this one's experimental. I think that you don't actually need to do the full 20 epochs. You probably only need to do 10.
But it's the same price, right? Did it go up in price? It's probably the same buzz price.
I didn't really notice, because it's cheaper than a Flux train anyway. A lot of these video training models are actually quite efficient, surprisingly. I was surprised. Like, I've spent more on training Flux. You can do 9,000 on a Flux train in one go, but this was about 4,000. And it had a decent amount of video. It was 68 video clips of 3 seconds each. When you work that out, 30 frames per second, that's 90 frames per video.
Pretty efficient.
Sorry, 90 frames per second, I mean. 90 frames per second. Sorry, per clip. So it's 90 times 68 is the full number of images that were presented for training. That's in there. It's a lot.
6,120. Yeah, lots.
So they're way more efficient. Like Flux is way more, you know what I mean? He's training with a lot more compute. So I don't even expect it to get anything like that much. And also the videos are low resolution, which I think has got something to do with it. Because obviously, you're already training it. Maybe 480p or 360p. Because then you can render at 720p. This is something which I've noticed. You can train at low resolution, and then you can actually render at high resolution. And it's a bit like the upscaling effect, where he kind of tries to fill in the gaps with what the model knows already.
That was kind of one question I had for you, because they're like with Juan, there is the 480 models and there's the 720 models.
Yeah.
But if a model's trained on 480, it should work with the 720 model, or
yeah, actually, right.
Or do you do 480 and then upscale?
You got a good point there. I think you get the best quality with the 720, so I train with that one and I use that one. I don't really use the 480p one anymore.
Okay.
But I think they might be. I think the LoRa's might be interchangeable.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%. I never really understand why they did that, because it's kind of like there wasn't really much difference. It's not like the 480p was able to run on less memory or anything, which would have been nice.
I mean, that's, I know from the dev
It was the
team,
same
it's been
size, you
one of
know.
the one of the challenges the dev teams had with that, because Hanwhan, it's just, hey, it's Hanwhan. That's the model.
Dragon's shouting out, you can interchange the LoRa's, so obviously he does it a lot.
Okay. The only thing you can't. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say,
the same
point I have is that the LoRa's don't always, like, you couldn't actually use LoRa with FramePack, even though it was Hunyan. Do you know what I mean?
There's a new version which you can. I haven't tested it.
Maybe they updated the nodes.
Yeah. There is a new, well, I've got it through Pinocchio set up right now, but there is LoRa integration. I just haven't applied it in yet. All these things that I've installed and thought, okay, this weekend I'm going to do it, and not quite. But
well, you do need more. I will say that though, if you're on a lower sized system, you can't even render 720p for 1 second. So, you know, you kind of are back down to the 480p. But if I'm being real, I just use GGUFs anyway now. I use a quantized Q8 or a Q4, depending on the system I'm on. And I use GGUF all the way. It's so
usually
good.
Come out 10 minutes after the official model too, so
yeah,
usually right there. And
yeah,
I think the challenging part, I mean, Hanwhan is just, well, besides FramePack and some other side projects of it, is really just one model to it. Whereas Swan, you've got the 480 and the 720 versions, but you've also got the I2V, the T2V, but you've also got 14B and 1.3B.
Yeah, and then you've also got the fun models, and then you've got the vase models.
Which, those are new this week.
Getting out of control. One of the reasons I didn't cover COG video was because I felt it was unfair on the audience to make them download a new 30 gigabyte repo every day, because it felt like they were just bringing out a new 30 gigabyte repo every day. That's what it would, and it wasn't like they were better. It was like, this one has got this, but this one doesn't have that, and it has this. But if you want to do the other thing, you want that one. And it was getting really complicated. So I kind of stayed away from that whole ecosystem. And it turns out the best of it has either ended up in WAN, WAN Fun, WAN Vase, FramePack, Hunyan Vase. These are all of the best things you can get right now. That none of them are like perfect solutions yet, I don't think, because there's always a trade-off. Like Vase is really good at doing control net video, but you have to sort of sacrifice a portion of your resolution to have the control net and the guide image. You know, it's all done in one image, like a grid. So you have the output on the right, and then you have 2 input images on the left, which means you kind of have to render the whole thing. So if your maximum resolution on your system is 1280p 720, like your 720p, then you have to kind of go, okay, so I want to put my reference image, which is this many pixels wide, and I want to put my control net video, which is this many pixels wide. And so if I take that off the canvas, I only actually have this much left to play with. And I think that is a bit of a, do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a trade-off.
Yeah. But I mean, when did 2.1 come out? That was February or March?
March.
March.
That video was
one was February, 1 was March, I think, and we're now 2 months later, and it's come so far along and so many extensions, which, I mean, that's the beauty of the open source side. Is once those models come out, you know, it gets optimized within minutes. It gets, you know, all sorts of extensions. You know, as much as the closed source might be higher quality off the bat, you know, the open source is just taking off so much quicker, and it's good to see.
Yeah, I think what happens is there's people sitting on the sidelines, and they've got something which maybe they were hoping to monetize. And often what happens is the big boy comes out with the thing. Now they've got the golden goose, if you see what I mean. They've creamed the crop in a sense by making it to market first. So at that point, that's gone. And so now you can either compete with them, or you can just release it and move on. And I think that's what actually is happening. Because it's kind of like, because you could be the first to market, you know, with a new technique, and then that comes with a lot. But if you're now being like the follow-up act to Amazon or Google, or, you know, I think that's like a completely different thing.
Or, I mean, for the more For the more AI based, that would be Stable Diffusion 3.5 coming out after Flux came out. Which,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it didn't
gives me,
like Flux had that big aha moment, like this is amazing, new,
yeah.
unique. And
Do you
Stable
know,
Diffusion 3.5 was really good, but it followed after that, which didn't have that. moment.
Zanelli Designs just said that the 720p LoRa's work with the 480, but it doesn't always work the other way around. That's interesting.
Okay. So it's better than to train it for 720p and
Yeah, and it was
even if you
very
use the
costly
480
as
model?
well. 720p training, you had to do H100 or it would take days.
Oof, yeah,
Obviously, it depends on the data set size.
yeah. But good to know. I mean, this is all this stuff all, you know, bring back to the devs to see how we can optimize.
Yeah, I mean,
What's that?
this is part of the training thing. I mean, I must admit, when Stable Diffusion 2.1 came out, I probably retrained the same data set 50 times, just changing one thing, one small amount, so that I could make a huge grid at the end. It's a crazy thing to undertake, but once you've got it, you can see the results. And then you'd like, oh well, I know it's this direction, that direction. You can navigate, because it's kind of like a 5-dimensional map you have to get through to try and figure out, because there's so many different variables and they all interact with each other. But I think once you get a good, like I say, I don't like to get the recipe which is like you train it and it's cooked at the end. I don't believe that always works, because different concepts learn at different speeds. So I think it's better to give out a spectrum of results and then test them all. And that this is human in loop doctrine. So you're gonna actually test them all and actually look at it and then objectively say, this is the best one. Because it's up to you at the end of the day. It's your work.
Because the AI can't really look at it and say, this is the best one.
No, it can't.
It's up to you looking at it or seeing it to really make, well, and that could change. You know, 1 month there could be some new thing that's, hey,
some kick-ass
this fixed the
curation.
best epoch,
Yeah.
you know, automatically.
But I do think though that if you put up, like, I'm not just talking about human versus vision model. I'm talking about like it's because it's not really human versus vision model, is it? It's you, because human could give a whole range of responses, but you will give a defined set of responses. And I think in art, when you're curating your generative model, you need to kind of put a bit of yourself into it. And I think that the curation that's one of the easiest places to put you in it, because the decisions you make, that's you. Every time you say, oh, not this one, that one, it's like a hot or not decision. You know, if I saw you swiping left or right, I can tell what your preferences are if you give me a large enough sample size. And that's essentially what LoRa training is. I decide, I have an idea in my head. We say yes or no to images being in that collection. And what I think that means says a lot about me.
Yeah, and
so that's where you put yourself into it.
If you share that with other people, you know, I think these are the 3 best epochs to share it with other people. You'll get 3 different opinions. Well,
you will.
How many
you will, but
that's close.
And that's the artist thing, isn't it? Because there's always this whole subjective, objective thing. If it's your work and you're happy with it, that's the one that you put out. And if people don't like that, it's okay, because it was what you liked, and that was. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. It's fine. They can not like it, because if I like what I'm making, that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah,
it's kind of a bit like blunt, but you know.
And it's part of, I mean, the other kind of fun part of it is, I mean, unless you're going to post multiple epochs of something, if you post the one that you like the most, that's now the definitive one of your model.
It is, yeah.
That's your model. That's canon. You know, DJ Z. I go DJ with Z.
It's
Z. Okay,
DJ Z. Yeah, it's not just the drafts, infinite drafts. You know, and often actually, if you go onto some of my models where I have done that, it's been for a part of a course where we've done a course on training and making data sets better, and we've ended up like showing, we started, you remember how I talked earlier, we have the V1 with the same caption, and then we go in again and we write captions for every file, and then we go in again and we say, that guy with the yellow jacket, he's too distracting, take him out. This says boy when it's a man, will fix all of those, you know. And then by usually the fourth or the fifth pass, you've got such a tight concept that it doesn't even need to be trained for as many epochs. I even find that you'll hit the magic mark, you know, earlier. And
That's
again,
a good sign too, and a good feeling when you see, oh, that's
it
already
means
got
you
it.
did well. Yeah, it means you did
Yeah.
a good job, because it's actually learned faster because there were less blocks, less distractions, and at the end of it, you get a more consistent outputs. Like, for example, we made this Sharona character recently to illustrate a new story, and at first it was very ropey. Her outfit would change all the time, and then we got the outfit down and her face was constantly changing, and then we got that part down and the backgrounds were crap, so that we got all that fixed, and now you can pretty much give her any background and any open pose, right? And it just works. She's like a gymnast. She can just flex and take up all the poses you want to put her in, right? I will say though, that version you just linked, that is the previous, because we did it all live. We're currently in version 4. So version 3 is the last best version. It's got the curated prompt set, but the images are mid-journey that were generated using the version 2 stable diffusion LoRA and Flux, and then we put them back in as style and omni reference images, and we used an agent to build a prompt template as well. That's up on GitHub, because we found that when you want to do a consistent model, you don't actually want to change most of the prompt. The character, the outfit, all of that stuff is the same every time, so you just vary the last part. And it's cheaper as well, cheaper and faster to generate, because you only really needed to say the pose and the location. Yeah. You know, it's always the same character in the same outfit, you know. But it does also mean, with that modular approach, that you can start giving examples of alternate outfits. So you can have multi-outfit in your character. We've already seen this. All of this stuff has already been done with some of the more popular models on Civic, but the difference is that we're doing it 100% custom from scratch, and then really sculpting those characters so that you can illustrate your stories. Because that's, you know, go on Gemini. If you've got an idea for a story, you can write it. Once you've written it, you can extract the descriptions of the character and then generate the character. Like I said, this is the journey, and then by the end of it, it's up to you. Do you just want to illustrate the cover, or do you want to go all the way and make comics? It's completely up to you at that point.
Yeah, so it's kind of starting with the vision and the idea and then building it all up piece by piece.
And it's kind of strange. It's like when you're halfway through the process, it feels like you haven't even done anything. But then the day before you finish, you still feel like you're kind of halfway through it, because the accelerationism, it's kind of like you get so much done so fast. As long as you don't drop it, as long as you can keep it all together, it all kind of lands at one point. Everything kind of lands at once. And suddenly you've got an illustrated story with an audio book, and you're working on animations now for book 2. And you're like, how did that happen? So yeah, I do think it's really important just to sort of see what you can get away with.
Yeah, I'll
see how far you can go
in the chat.
Oh, and you don't even need like a hard concept either, because you look at something like Peanuts, you know, Charlie Brown, you know,
yeah,
like it's a really simple concept. It's a 3-strip panel, so it's like you don't have to make The Simpsons for $1 million budget every week. I see a lot of people, like I've fallen for the trap where you're like, I'll try to make a half-hour show and see what it looks like, and you can do it, but it's not very good. You know what I mean? And I think that part of it is just practice. You got to fail to succeed. You know what I mean? You've got it's part of growing. And so I think AI allows you to go, I've got a crazy idea, I'm just going to do it, and you'll learn so much practical experience from it. You should never be afraid to fail.
Yeah, that's been my entire last year, which has been a lot of fun and a lot of learning. I linked to your YouTube again, but definitely anybody, like, you stream every day. Well, it's 1 p.m. my time zone in Pacific Standard. But do you have it on your calendar on YouTube? Well, I guess if they subscribe, they can YouTube and watching his streams, because it's it's the full journey. Like, it's not just one piece or the other. It's a full journey of creativity and AI. I don't know how to say it. Like AI engagement, AI creativity. Like each piece of it.
I like to think that we try to apply things. So it's sort of like, okay, I've got this really cool image AI, right? That means I can generate textures for a video game. So we actually do that. What does that look like? And in the process of doing it, you find out, oh, I need normal maps, and I need roughness maps, and I need specular maps. And now, back in Stable Diffusion 1.5, there was none of that. But now you can actually do all of that. There's plugins that go straight into Unreal Engine and Blender and things like that. So it's like it's all moved on, but it's kind of like really hard to keep track of everything. And things kind of get drowned out by the noise of like the latest and greatest. But the reality is that it's never been easier to get an idea off the ground, and you can fully do all of it yourself. You actually can. Like, it used to sound ridiculous to say stuff like that, but it is actually practical now. You can make the music, make the artwork, write the code, do the website. You can actually do it all. And what I try to do on the show is we'll take something and get our teeth into it and expose the whole thing from start to finish, and just show you how, you can have a website with like Shopify, you know what I mean, for drop shipping. You can do that in 2 hours. It's not even a challenge anymore. So really, it's a choice. It's just a choice over what you decide you want to do with your time. I'm not saying that's a good idea, by the way. I don't do that drop shipping.
It's not a bad idea.
And I'm not against
the
it
drop
either.
shipping part, yeah.
It's an easy way to sell merch if you want to put a logo on a hat. But what I'm trying to say is, like, there are people that do it like that's all they do. And I'm not here to talk about that, but I'm just saying, like, the technology now has got it to the point where, like, for example, I always wanted to actually publish my music, and I never did. And so with AI, we used mastering and EQ plugins for FL Studio and mastered all 45 albums in like a day and put them all on my radio station. So now they play 24/7. Although my SSL certificate died, so I can't give you a link for that. So my 24/7 radio station, it's playing, but if I give you the link, people will be like getting a warning. It's not unsafe, it's just the date ran out again. I don't even know why. It's supposed to auto renew.
I don't know, SSL stuff
always
seems to mess up every year.
I don't know how. It's supposed to be even past the simulation, because you have to do the certbot, you have to do the simulation before you can update. But
you've got at least one more sub.
Oh, appreciate every single one of you guys. Like I said, it's been a year. I've been in this probably since March 2022, but I kind of just worked behind the scenes as a consultant engineer for the first year, just sort of silently working with many teams. And I started the educational stuff because I thought, do you know what? I'm always sat here all day, all night, just making these workflows and stuff. And I thought I could just put a camera behind me. That was the idea, the concept, really. And that's when it just became a live stream. But like I said, it's nice because it means I can take my time over the main channel videos a bit now. Because I was kind of fed up of, because you could spend all day doing like a nice video with a nice workflow pack, nice examples, you put it all up, it's nice. But then the joke is, as soon as you put it up, something else came out, nobody cares. Kept happening. And I was like, you know what? I could just do a live show every day, look at all the things, and then it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? I've looked at them now. We showed them on the show. So I think it's a better format. 20 minutes, because the YouTube algorithm wants you to make 8 to 15 minutes. You know how it is.
Nice.
There's certain things they like you to do. It doesn't. It's not. You need 3 hours a day. Sometimes I can't, do the full 3 hours every day. But other days we've done like 7, not noticed. Some of the streams are very long, and it's because we were like really getting our teeth into it that day, or there was a lot of news.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good feeling when you watch the time. Well, you don't watch the time. The time just goes by without you noticing.
Yeah, you don't even
You're getting
notice.
stuff down, and your head's so deep into it. I mean, I'm sure you have, and I definitely have had lots of evenings where I've been called saying, "Hey, you should come to bed." Oh, it's 11. Or
Well, I don't
like
have
that.
I don't have anybody telling me to go to bed. My son's
Okay.
21. He's now
Okay.
he's now flown the roost as well. He's a good lad.
Yeah.
So I'm just like full time balls to the walls. But here, I do know what you mean by just one more try. Change
Yeah.
the workflow around. Just one more. Maybe I'll change this. Just one more. What about that? What about I put that image in? What if we put that parameter up by like 0.1? You know,
It's
let's
so
do it again.
close.
Do it again, and it's like 5 minutes each time because it's like a crazy workflow. You know, and then you're looking at them, and the thing I call it pixel blind, where you've been curating or generating, or you've just been like sorting through your images for so long that now they all kind of look as good as each other, and you kind of lose the objective ability. It's like snow blind, where you've seen so much snow, you kind of go blind from it. And I call it pixel blind, where you've been working with images for so long, and you kind of have to, you're right, I'm going to bed, because you kind of realize that you go, I can't decide between these two images, you know, for example, like which one should I keep, which one should I ditch for the curation process. And I find I go to bed, I wake up the next day, and I'm like, oh damn, it's obvious. How did I not know this? And that's like the cognitive strain. Just you get tired, you kind of lose the ability to make decisions. So yeah, you got to get your
But then
sleep.
you wake up first thing and think right back to it.
Oh yeah, right back
Sometimes
to it.
you get right over the issue you were having that took you so long.
Yeah. That's the thing. If you sleep on it, you'll be like, oh, this is obvious. What was I even doing? And that's the trick. You can, if you stay up too late on coding, I don't even bother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just, fresh day. Try again.
From Control Art saying, prefer the live format. I learn a lot more from live than videos. Yeah, that's fair. If you manage to time it well and be able to catch it, you know, I like live streaming, well, on Civitai, and I have done it before otherwise, but it's nice because, you know, this stream, we've gotten overtime, and I'm good with that. Like, but we can keep talking. There's no limit of,
oh,
hey,
cool.
we have to
I
make
didn't
this
know how
into a
long
10.
the show was. See, the problem with me is if you had me on for like a charity event, I wouldn't even notice, because I'd just be sat here going, oh, we've done 6 hours.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
unfortunately, we can't take subscriptions on the site right now, except with crypto. So we can't do a charity run right now. But I'll keep you in mind for
well,
the next.
Pencil it in for the future.
Just keep you going for a few hours.
Good causes.
Yeah,
you know, like the 3-legged doggos. I'm just joking. I'm not going to say where.
Yeah. Do you get any more results from the?
We're just about to run one now. So we got the Epoch 2. So I thought I'd just run that while we're talking, and I'm just going to refresh. See, did we get another one here? No, we're still
at 2. Yeah.
Still looking at 2. But we did get some encouraging.
It did look good.
Got some encouraging demos. Like I say, WAN has the best motion. I will wait. I don't care if it's not as quick. Because the thing is, I already have the fast option in LTX. So if I want fast video generation, I know where I have to go, because it's literally 10 times quicker than everything else. Whereas like 8 seconds for a 2-second video, that's blistering. Okay. So if I want to go and look at Hunyan, that at the moment seemed to me to be the best option for training, because of frame pack, because of the matured ecosystem, you know, the image to video model's amazing, all of this kind of stuff, right? But then it got me thinking, if WAN image to video is so good, I mean, it'll probably turn out that you can't even do text to image LoRa's with that. You know, this is you get into the nuances. Can you even use a text to image LoRa with a image to image? If you can't, it doesn't really bother me. Because I'm very happy to work with text to image. I have good success with text to image, especially if you can train it, you know, because it's literally going to do exactly what you want it to do. As long as you put the work in with the captioning and the training, now you have this model that can just make you billions of videos. So
that's partly why I haven't trained too much in WAN itself yet, is because of that split in training of T to V and image to video, just because, which one do I want to train for? I mean, with text to image, image to image, it's easy enough because there's only one to choose from. But if you're training a video model, like if you're doing something like this, I'd think text to video.
Yeah,
but
text to video all the way, because I want the variety, don't I?
A style or something like that, or like an effect, like the squish effect one.
But if it was like, say I generated a street racer next to his car talking to the camera, really, I want to do that with image to video.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think it's horses for courses. Mm-hmm. So like some things are better than others. So it's like, why try to get one thing to do everything? Best example is face swapping. There's lots of different things out there to solve face swapping. I like Reactor. I like Reactor because you can train a face. You can get multi angles of a character that you've trained, and then you can apply that to every output, and it just kind of keeps it on rails, right? I then apply an upscale afterwards, and it nicely blends in, like a very light denoise upscale, and it just blends in nice. And so it's like there's so many different ways. There's pull ID. There's so many different ways. And what was the other one? Infinite U. That's a great one. Obviously, just IP adapters for the older models, right? But it's a good example. You know what I mean? Because there's like so many competing solutions for a thing. It's not really like it's just one thing.
There's no right answer.
No. So it's almost like if you opened up Photoshop and I said, oh, do this, there's probably 5 ways to approach it using different tool sets all in that one program. But it's sort of like, do you even know about them? And so
if you find one that works, you're probably not going to go to the other 4.
That's true. Exactly. And then the pro that does it day in, day out is aware of all 5. And could probably tell you why he would use each one in each case. Best example is airbrushing. When you do Photoshop in airbrushing, why is it you would use color dodge? I'm not asking. It's rhetorical. I mean,
I couldn't answer that anyways, but
yeah, there's a specific reason why you would use it. Do you know what I mean? It's like everything has a use, right?
Yeah. How's that video coming through? Did you get that one out yet? Or what kind of video card are you running anyways?
It's a 4090. Like one of the reasons I record on a different computer. So I've got a different computer here, which is streaming the 4090 over on the other side. Because what would happen is if you try to stream with the 4090 and then you try to render like video up to the max VRAM, like push the limit, it's going to cut the stream out, and then they kick you off.
Yeah, done that before. Luckily not on Civitai stream.
So that's Epoch 1. We got Epoch 2 cooking. It's going to be about, what's that, 4 minutes?
Sweet.
Or is it 6 minutes?
Yeah, either way. We'll wait for that one. We'll
near the end of the show. I don't mean to keep you up, mate.
No, I mean it's later for you.
But oh, yeah, it is actually. No, you are right. I do get kicked out of here in about half an hour. So
okay.
Because it is an industrial.
But you've given us a good time to work towards for closing things out with that video. But
I'm just trying to think if there's anything which I didn't have a look at, because we looked at these car models. This one's probably the most fun. I do think this is the funniest one, because you can mix this with different things for different effects. Even just doing prompts, you're going to have a lot of fun with that one. And we did put the time in. It took 13 hours on an H100. So
that was right with.
And then yes, so
the
bar model. This is a nice little tie it up actually, because we started off by showing the flux bar model, which was like super. Do you know what I mean? It was like super tight. It looked, well, you didn't see the original. You'll have to trust me. But the original, he's like got curly hair. He's got a beard. He's kind of middle-aged, a little bit more muscular, right? Whereas this guy, he's lost all of that. And now he's just a ginger guy. I don't mean to say it like that. I don't mean to be derogatory. I am a ginger guy. But what I mean is This is like really ginger, right?
Yeah. I mean, all the other colors seem muted there except that.
Look, can you see the difference
Oh, yeah.
between Ginger A and Ginger B? He's hyper ginger, whereas this guy is just kind of like, I might be a bit blonde, actually. Can't really tell. You know what I mean? Cyber Society, people are saying in the chat, oh, you want to see Cyber Society? See, I am actually going to do a video Cyber Society soon. And what we're going to do is we're going to gaslight. Okay. We're going to gaslight the training process by saying things that aren't there. And then as you train it, they will be, because the model knows what they are. Okay. And it works really well. So the idea is we're going to take the original Cyber Society data set, and then we're going to do prompt swap on terms like image for video. And that does give you the beautiful video realistic. That's, if you ever see that in one of my prompts, it's because it was photorealistic and we swapped it with a rule for the whole data set and then just trained the images into a video model for testing purposes. And so then you get the beauty that is video realism. You know,
That's, yeah,
because it just happened and then it trains it and then it just works. It does work. But yeah, one thing I like to do is get a mess. Have you ever seen like abstract paint swirls and stuff? If you get a data set of that and then you train and tell in the captions like that you're squinting, if you like squint and go, it's a person with a banjo, you train it long enough, it will be a person with a banjo. And there's a way of like summoning things out of the clip when you're doing the training. It's like deliberate misalignment. But yeah, the idea is we're going to take the Cyber Society collection and turn it into a video collection. So, I already did it. See what I mean? I don't even remember how the stuff I do.
You're doing too much that you forget.
Has it got video realistic in the prompt? That'd be great. But yeah, so Cyber Society was a style I developed over about a year, and it's like the aesthetic of the colors and everything. It's the style, like the way the colors are done and everything else. This model is very anime heavy, so we see it represented. You can kind of see what the biases are as well from the process. Oh my god, it's a little bit mutated, that one. But these are
backward stepping.
Yeah, I think this is just Hanyan. 4 months ago this was. Can you imagine how quick it's gone? It's just unreal, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh no, it doesn't feel like it's been 4 months.
No. But if I go to the actual, where is it? Oh look, we did it with Cosmos. Anybody remember Cosmos? Can I get a shout out for Cosmos?
It might be
another video
delayed,
model,
but I'm sure somebody will.
Everyone's forgotten about it.
I'm sure there's somebody. It just might be.
I can't remember if it was. Is it NVIDIA? I think it was NVIDIA.
NVIDIA.
Let's see if we can find some things here. There's a lot here. That is my doggo. Where is
That's between the dog model. That's good.
Aha! Cyber Society. Here it is, version 66. Remember how I said, because I get there are so many different versions of this model, and they are different. You know what I mean? Different training recipe, different captions, different curation. Because we kind of broke down the training of this model. The different versions, what they are, the different training settings. Because we like fact find, and then by teaching those skills, you don't need me because you know how to fish now. You didn't just get fed.
Yeah.
Right. I've always been like a practical guy, so I taught a lot of things. I like to try and get you to do it. And then because it elevates what you're already doing, you don't need to do it like me. You just need to know my tricks, and then you can do what you're already doing more betterer. I love that word, don't you?
The more betterer. Yeah.
More betterer. Yeah. So let's take a look at that results. Oh, Epoch 2 is looking good already. It's a bit cooked. But considering that look, can you see the police car? Look, see the police lights flashing every now and again?
Oh yeah.
Blue. Look,
Not too much,
it's
but
like we are the police car, actually. If you look on the wing, it's like we
yeah,
are the police car.
it's coming out of your perspective.
Yeah.
Huh.
So like the
But
lights
no, the
emitting from
quality's
us.
there. Like the
It's not bad.
consistency holds together.
It's a bit of a trip, isn't it? It's like we overtake the car and then there's another one pulls past and we overtake that one.
Identical, yeah.
See, because the captions are like so vague, it's gonna average out everything. So when we trained our image models, say if I had 10 images of a yellow BMW and 10 images of a yellow Ferrari, and then I train them together with XJX car, we're gonna get a Ferrari BMW. That's what's going to happen. We've probably all seen it, right? And so that's why the first thing I do is I train it all as this is a big concept. Just put it all under one big tent, please. And so you're going to get weird stuff like all the cars have merged into like hybrids of each other. But then the second train will go through manually and go, I'll watch the clip and go, that was actually a Ferrari in this one. In the next clip, that was actually a BMW. And then in the next version, we can call up BMW and Ferrari on command. And so it's like incrementally getting more ability and accuracy into your model until eventually, like a sculptor, you end up with this perfectly aligned model, which can do all kinds of cool stuff, like call in any car in the entire model, understanding, maybe even change it to daytime in like daytime in Spain or Greece. So because it understands what the environment is as well, and it will just allow you to just prompt in. Do you know what I mean? Because remember, we've learned the motion of these cars chasing each other on the highway. That's what it actually learned. It didn't learn Tokyo. It already knew Tokyo. We know that because the first epoch, it already knew what we were doing, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And so as we move down, like it has less value at this point. Really, now what I do is I don't even wait for it to finish training. I'm now going to immediately start refining captions. And then when this finishes, the next one probably will already have started because I've learned what I need to learn already. But I'll let it keep going to learn more. Because what if I'm wrong and the model doesn't collapse and it just aligns at epoch 10, which would be 2.5 times longer than the default training and at a higher repeat count. So, you would have had to leave the default on for more epochs than you're allowed to do. Do you know what I mean? You could never have got there. And this is why this is like, I want, if I find out that it falls apart, it fell apart. Now I'm going to go in a different direction. But if I find out actually it stayed together, now we've got the beginnings of an improved formula.
Even more. So I guess one of the key takeaways with that, and maybe just inserting it in, but it's not to try for perfection the first time with your data set or anything. It's to keep it as an iterative approach and keep training, trying, improving, tagging better, making 20 versions of the same model, making it better each time or different each time or improving some concepts or learning of it.
Yeah, it's a scientific method. Change one thing and see the result.
I think that's what holds up a lot of people. I mean, it held me up at the start. You don't want to put something into training if you think, I don't know if I got it right. But there really is no way to get it right perfect. Well, I mean, you might get a really good model the first time, but it is more of an iterative approach where you have to go back to it and say, what was good? What was it? How do we improve it? How do we...
Well, this is the beauty of it. See, I know from having done this in the past with other models that once we get a good formula and the rules are understood, so, I could tell you that if you have 10 to 100 images or whatever this will work with this formula. And, if you go outside that area, I can't guarantee it, but it's a damn sight better than starting with nothing or a default template which doesn't necessarily train. And to be fair, sometimes it is actually not it's not the platform's fault, because it is Masubi. And if you've got time, I would like to just quickly show you Masubi Trainer. Okay,
sure.
It's from Koya SS. So if you remember Koya was the guy that did all of our LoRA trainers, and the Civitai LoRA trainer, I believe, is based on Koya. And so here we are. Koya S scripts was the UI that we used to train all of our LoRAs, and Musubi is the video from the same guy, all right, or group. If I'm sure he's got friends. But my point is, if we actually take a look at WAN 2.1 documentation, and there's also the training documentation. Oh my god, it's just bad news. Installation, model download, text encoders, data set. Right, so yeah, data set configuration.
Tuner, it's called, right?
Text encoder, accelerate, training. Right, training. Okay, so I'm not going to make this too silly. I just want to focus on the one thing I was talking about earlier. Merging. So I guess I have to go to the data set rules. Where does it talk about that? Sample, image, advanced configuration. He's changed it. He's written in like 1 million new things. Oh my god. Download it. Train it. Ah, haha. Because I was going to say, he had a really good write-up in here. It'd be a real shame if he took it down. Oh,
it does talk about frame pack. No, just the running.
Where's the data set instructions? This is crazy. Ignore me while
I'm just looking at the same time.
Yeah, there should be like data set. Data set. Yeah, data set. Dataset config.md. Here we go. This is the bit I was looking for. So this is kind of familiar. If you've ever looked at LoRA training, this is kind of familiar. Yeah. So you can see resolution, batch size, bucket. You can see the JSON. Now, obviously, when you use Civitai, they do all of this nonsense for you, which is amazing. And that's why I actually don't bother with any of this stuff anymore. Because if it's on Civit, I'll just use my buzz. There's no point. The result's going to be just as good. There's, scientifically no difference between doing it locally in the cloud or with a service, because it's all the same source anyway. They use Musubi or Koya SS or something else, which is wrapped that or based on that. But what I wanted to talk about was this dataset frame extraction. And this is the big seller that tells me I'm only going to do video training. See, I did mess around with image training at first because I was like, it's cheaper, it's faster, you get a good result. But when I realized the difference with head training, what it actually means, I hope they've still got the graph on here. Here we go. They've still got it. They've still got it. So this is going to be really good. So check this out. So what we have is we have head, chunk, slide, uniform, and full. Right now, this might look really confusing when you first see this. Let me just make this bigger. This might look really confusing, okay? But actually, it's really simple. X means a frame. 0 means no frame. Okay. Now, I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'll highlight. Right.
Yeah.
So when you're in head mode, which is the default training mode, you're going to see 1 frame, 13 frames, and 25 frames extracted. So this is a clip. This is a clip which is being trained. That's what this is. Each of these is a frame, an image in that video clip, right? So when you have it on head, it's going to extract the first frame, the first 13 frames, and the first 25 frames. And that's it. That's all it's going to do from that clip, right? So it doesn't train the whole video. It doesn't train the end. It doesn't train. So in this instance, it never trained the end of the clip.
Yeah, only
Now that's okay, because if you were a curator and you know that the motion is happening at the start, you don't care about the bit at the end, which is why this is useful, you see. But if you really want to teach the whole thing, you've got to use one of the other modes. Now we can't change them in Civit, right? But I would suspect that this is a bit like, you know how you have your character, style, concept, motion. I would suspect that, you know, there's like when you go to the trainer on Civit, there's like a special fourth mode for video, which is motion. I don't know because I have not confirmed, but I would assume, because this is what you need. You need for effect mode, you have to train all the frame. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't just train the beginning. For effect mode, you need the whole thing. So I think, now I haven't confirmed this, and maybe we could find out. I don't know.
I will absolutely check it.
But it would be, if it's not the case, it should be the case. But uniform mode is what's needed to teach the full range of motion. So if you are doing a custom train in the cloud, make sure you change to uniform, because as you can see here, 1, 3, and 1325 in the config makes it do 1, 1, 1, 1. So that means there were 4. So equidistant. You get frame sample. I put my frame sample to 8 as well, by the way, to get really good motion. But basically that means there would be 8. You know, it's going to divide the sequence by 8 and give 1. Then it's going to divide the sequence by 8 and give 13. So as you can see here, look, this is why it's so good. You do 13 with an overlap. So it's actually repeating the start and end point of the overlap in animations. And then the 25. Final part as well, it actually does the opposite. So it's doing the opposite.
Yeah.
So you end up with it going back the other way. So then it's the only way, in my opinion, to really guarantee that you did actually train every video. But it's more intense and tends to take more GPU hours.
Yeah. So if you were doing, say, a style or something, you know, a little more basic, you'd probably get away with head. But if you're doing something where you need the full clip detail from it, that you need.
I mean, there is a new mode which wasn't there when I first did it, called full now. I just noticed, which just trains all of, but it does see trimmed to max length. So that's another way of doing it as well. So I would say uniform is the best way to do it, though. Uniform mode with frame sample 8. This is one of the reasons why you would go and do it custom, to have control over this sort of thing, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of doing things locally. But I wouldn't be surprised if the effect, you know, if I just go and have a look at it right now, if I just click on that one and go video, we have this effect option. I don't know, but I would assume that's using uniform.
That I'll check.
I would be surprised if it wasn't, because it's like that's how you get the best motion training.
And considering that was added in special for video training, you know, I don't know the full details, but now I'm very curious, so I will. And I'll let you know what I find.
Yeah. Because like I said, I'm going to retrain this bar video model multiple times with different setups so that we can compare the different versions and see which one's closest to ground truth. Because the idea is this is a talking head model. All it does is make guy talking in place. So then you prompt what kind of guy you want and what kind of place you want. And then you get and then you obviously dub it, you know. That was that's where we were at. But this is the thing. VO3's just changed everything, because I know what's going to happen now. We're going to end up with talking video models. It just makes sense, I think.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of the next step to it.
Yeah.
But as well, I mean, the good thing with some of these models, like say VO3, as expensive as it is, or if it's even accessible, and you know, like OpenAI's, you know, GPT-1 image, is that you can use those, you know, more advanced closed models to help train models for the open models, for the open source models.
Well, you know, that's why that's something else as well. Don't be fooled. The reason the top models are so expensive is because they're all scalping each other, because they know they're all training on each other's outputs. And that's why it's $75 per million on the output.
Yeah.
Or more, or 250, you know. Yeah. But I have to recommend, if you have a computer with a GPU, even if it's only 4 GB, look into Ollama. There is a Qwen 3 model, It's like having ChatGPT 3. You know, ChatGPT 3.5 feels like ChatGPT 3.5, and it runs on a laptop, free. You
So
know,
they've
and
got
like I
some
said,
sort of GPU.
yeah, it's called, if you Olama, because
Fine.
like I said, there are things that we do all the time, like captioning, like generating new prompts. One of the most fun things you can do is take a LoRA and then take the entire prompt list, which it was trained, you know, the caption list that it was trained on. I try to provide a full caption list for all the LoRAs that I put out, because what you can do is you can go into an LLM and say, here's the prompt list for my LoRA. I want you to generate me new prompts that align with this model. So in other words, use a lot of the similar terms and structure as the examples you've just given it, to generate all new prompts doing all new things. And you'll, you know, it's a bit like the prompt enhance trick that people do, you know, but you can have even more control.
Yeah. And you don't need closed source ChatGPT to do it.
No, you can do it local. That's the biggest thing is, there's a lot of stuff I like to say on my stream. It's like having a rocket engine, you know, jet powered shopping cart. You can just push it around. You can get these little models that will do almost everything. You know, everyone loves having a rocket powered shopping cart, right? But I'm just saying you don't need it for everything. Maybe we can just push. And that's why I'm saying, like, Quen 3, the smaller quantizations, they're under 4 gigabytes now. They're actually really good. I was asking it a question for just like a friend. We were having a conversation. We looked it up. It was quite a technical question, and it was okay. You know, as my friend pointed out, if you don't know what any of those things are, you're kind of still lost. But you know, you probably wouldn't ask that question. You know, it was quite a specific question.
Yeah, it sounds right if you don't know.
It's about degassing resin, just in case people wanted to know. And it gave good advice, you know.
All right. Did you get a third epoch out of that one?
Not yet, no. But what I will do is put it up to 25 steps. I think my CFG might be a bit high as well.
I hope I linked the right one, but it's Quen 3, right?
Hey,
it's Olama Quen 3, right?
Yeah, in fact, let me just
sure.
I can put it up on the screen. Okay. Olama.
Yeah.
So Olama, go into models, right? Go into Quen 3, and then when you're on models, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of different ones. And so what I do is I go for the one which is like the biggest number of parameters that'll actually fit on my laptop. So if I go into Quen 3, 4 billion, and I look at this, it's 2.6 gigabytes for the Q4 with 4 billion parameters. And then the next one up is 8 billion with 5.2, right? Now, it used to be that there were even more of them in different quantizations, but it depends, you know, depends who's maintaining the page, I think, what actually exists. But do you know what? I think I've been using Quen 3 1.7 billion, which is tiny.
You said you're running on a laptop.
It's 1.4 gigabyte, and it will run on CPU. It's just a bit slower. And like I said, for almost, I would say for most tasks, this is perfect. And also it gets better. If you go to newest, you'll notice something else. Quen 2.5 VL. This is the tagger that's used by all the video training websites to do automatic tagging. It now has a 3 billion parameter version, which is again 3.2 gigabytes. This is the best tagger you can get, and it'll run on a 4 gigabyte laptop. That is a 2050 GPU. You know, an NVIDIA 2050 can now run the latest vision model. I tried it with Open Web UI connected to my Olama on the laptop, and it was able to give an excellent caption of the image I gave it. And so this is because before you would need a 4090 or something beefy, because it was like a 20 gigabyte model. It was running in 32 billion parameters before.
Yeah.
But now less parameters and quantized. And the thing is, this can actually do much, much more than look at this. Quen 2.5 plays as a visual agent that can reason and dynamically direct tools, which is capable of computer use and phone use. Phone use?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
It's good. Well, I mean, some phones are pretty
I guess.
intense by now.
But it's just like, they're not even, it's getting to the point where we're going to need a thick book just to describe what these things can do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, he's a vision model. He can write really nice prompts, and he's got a whole bunch. He actually has video understanding. So I haven't figured it out, but there is a way to have a video model, have it look at the video, not just pull images and stuff. But yeah, I mean, personally, I do a lot of work with LLMs. Mostly it's like documentation. Like, I'll give you an example. If you have a look at the write-up on this bar model, which we're currently experimenting with, testing the formula for WAN, what you'll notice is that obviously we've included all of the stats of how it was trained to the best of we can. But it included the actual training data as well. So it has got the images and the prompts together, so you can like back engineer and see what we're doing. And then we've got an analysis here from Claude 3.7. This one was. So he's analyzed the captions for the model. And so he's identified all the things it can do. So it gives you like a full write-up on, what it's weak at, what it's strong at, how to write the prompt,
So that's how you got the good prompt or good model descriptions. Now I know.
Yeah. By giving my captions to a model, to an LLM like Claude, and saying, using the captions, please write up the full capabilities which have been taught to this model. And then it will write all this up for you. Oh, yeah. And I obviously tell it to make sure it mentions the trigger at the start, Yeah. But that's how I do that. I'm trying to do it for all of them because, to be honest, all I need is the prompt list, which I already made. And it's one prompt. And copy them in there.
Well, I think you're probably going to get kicked out soon, and I probably have to get back to.
There's not going to be enough time to watch. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine. Look at this. Why is it taking? Oh, I asked for more steps. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I asked for more steps.
Is this a model that you're planning to put up afterwards?
Yeah. This is going to be. I'm going to push this one, but obviously I'll wait to get the best epoch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to, because the thing is, I'm going to keep retraining this with new captions. What I try to do is make it like an open process. So if you stop by the show and see us doing it, I'll probably be in some stage of something like this, and I'll be like explaining what I'm doing. And then you can go and see the different versions at the end and be like, oh, okay, so I start off by doing this. I go through these processes, and then I'll have, the best model it could be by the end. And I think that over the process of going through that, you might even discover something I'm not doing, right? Because that does happen. It's like a world of discovery right now. Because, I didn't really make anything. I just discovered and documented a thing that already was existing,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you gain more experience, and out of that, you gain more skill.
Yeah. And just keeps looping over.
Yeah.
As the technology changes, still learning.
It's an infinite feedback loop where if you don't give up, you get better.
Yeah. So don't give up, and don't be afraid to get started either.
No. But crazy idea. Let's see. Can I show you a crazy idea which we had today, and it's done?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I'll show you. We had a crazy idea today. It's done. Scuffed. Go to scuffedepoch.com, and then we go to /art_grid. So we've been working on these art grid things for a while. This is like an interesting way of doing image to image because it eliminates high frequency noise by using color shapes for the background. But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the fact that this is a website which is fully working. It didn't exist at 1 o'clock. Let me get rid of myself here. I'm in the way. So it didn't exist at 1 o'clock. we decided to make it into a couple of things. So this is a proof of concept for the modular design. It's using React, but then it's also built into Electron. So what we've done is we've started off by making this website, just to give you a bit of a, here you go. It makes art grids with SVG, and it works in real time. I've got lots of different versions of this, okay, but this is like a nice little front end here. And what it'll do is it'll make art grids with randomized palettes, randomized features, okay. You know, you can do all these other things to it, right? And I released this a while back, and it is actually a Comfy UI node now, and you can use that to, you put your character in front here, and it will eliminate high frequency noise from the scene. But because it's image in and it matches the composition with the colors, you still get the right image at the end, but it's only able to give high frequency detail to the character. Okay, so it's like an interesting way of steering attention in image generation by using these abstract shapes. And obviously, you use a different set of shapes or colors, you get a different effect. So, I mean, just to sort of, I can pull that across. It's just my Discord. So that would be an example of a finished image which kept the effect. So this would be going into image to image. Okay. And the background is generated from the original. So we got RemBG going on in there. You know, we've got a whole bunch of different things. There's another one showing the different pieces. So you have the original image, you have the art grid version. We put her back on top with RemBG and masking and blending, and then this is the invert, because I thought the inverts looked pretty cool.
Interesting to see, yeah.
And you have full control over it all. Here's a Baron Harkonnen from Midjourney, who's been art gridded. Okay, it's a very interesting thing going on here, and you got full control because obviously it's SVG. It can be any size that you want. I decided to hit a couple of the Empire projects. So there's the soldiers, and they get turned into this, which is quite interesting. All of this stuff is like in the various galleries, but we originally figured this out when I was doing Sharona, which is one of the things that we've been illustrating lately, like a Hyborian thing. And this is the character like inverted. So we've been doing a lot of stuff with this SVG business. And so today I decided to put out 2 prompts on my X. It's up on Twitter. It's like 2 prompts. The first prompt made the UI. The second prompt made it work. And you end up with something like this. Now, what we've actually done is a friend of mine has contributed his own. So he remixed mine and he made this one, which is really cool as well. So it's like a maze generator thing. Okay. And you've got all these different settings you can do. It's nice, right? Just generate. And the interesting thing about this is a fully working website that was generated in like, I don't know, a couple of hours total. But it's actually modular. So like you can add, there's going to be more of these added in. And here's the best thing, right? So we had an idea. We've got a script. We want it to work. We want to deploy it to people. We can just make a website that does all of that. And to go even further, we actually have Art Grid Studio. If you see build web, that's where the web build that's up on the website is. But after that, we said, okay, now we can make this Electron. And now we have Art Grid Studio Portable, which is an exe that runs on your desktop. And like I said, we did all of this from three prompts. Now, I don't know how much work Mr. Gamatron did for his side of things, but you know, and I know I did a lot of work already on the art grid to make it work in the first place. But if we just open this, I bet it won't work now. It'll say, you need .NET. Oh, no, it works. So yeah, we open it up, start creating. Oh, look, it's the same thing, but this is now a desktop app. So here's the offline. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So we live in an age where not only can you have an idea from like creative. I want to make something creative with script and code, right? Not only can you actually make that dream into reality, but you can deploy it to your website same day and turn it into a distributable portable exe format. And if you ask me, that's one license away from monetization, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking shareware is going to come back. Do you remember shareware?
Oh yeah.
So it's
we
like,
couldn't afford the real thing. We had everything shareware.
Right. But I think that we're gonna, do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, idea to deployment in a day, fully distributed exe. It's crazy. That's where we're at. And I think that it's now is the time to kind of like seize the day.
Mm-hmm. It's only going to get
well, maybe not right
faster
now because it's a 10 past 11 at night, but
well, it depends on your time zone. It's 3 o'clock p.m. here on the west coast of Canada. You've still got time today.
Really important. Because like I said, you know, you can take an idea to the fullest. Just you can have a discussion and a few hours later, you know, it's real. And that's kind of where we're going. I think the next thing, now that video is basically solved, we're going to start seeing some rapid improvements on the 3D model side.
Yeah. There's been some good developments, but that'll be for another stream on 3D.
Yes. All right.
Right on. Well,
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. If you want to get back on your picture there, we'll do a cover closeout. Does that work?
Oh. Where am I?
Or did I cut you off?
No. I'm just Butterfingers.
Oh, there. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
I'm back. Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for the invite. I really appreciated it. I'll be happy to do it again if you ever want. You know, I'll be around.
Oh,
so
totally. Well, thanks
very
again
much.
Thanks so much for joining on. Like I said, I've followed you on Civit for quite a while, but it's been good ever since we started talking and just seeing everything you're working on. It's super exciting stuff, and I hope people do follow your YouTube. And I've linked your, if you scroll up in the chat, I'll post it again.
Scuffed Epoch, everybody.
Civit, but also let's put the YouTube link one more time because you stream every day at the same time. Well, most every day.
Scuffed Epoch.
You got some fans for sure there.
Yeah, give me some crazy ideas.
Play the video one last time of the promotion for your channel, which was, for those who didn't see it in the start of the stream, this was all, generated using
Don't forget to subscribe to the new Scuffed Epoch show on YouTube.
Which is still very weird and creepy. The fact that that's fully AI. But
it's scarily good, isn't it? Honestly, it blew my mind. I couldn't believe it.
Every time I see it, it's still, And I mean, I'll
That's the
post one more time of the contest on Civitai right now. Check it out. It's for the new Vidu model. I won't talk too much about it because I talked at the start of the stream about it. But check that out as well. But you were saying, sorry.
I don't remember.
Okay. But yeah, I just want to say thanks again. Like, this is, it's hard to say there was ever a non-exciting time with all the AI stuff, but it's just getting more exciting, it feels like. Every week there's crazy new stuff. It's not slowing down.
No, it's getting, like I said, the gaps in between are getting shorter, visibly, noticeably shorter. That's one thing I've noticed. I think the acceleration is accelerating and people are downplaying it because they are expecting a plateau and it just didn't.
Yeah. Feels like one was going to happen, or anytime there's kind of a lull, then something big comes out. Felt like there was kind of a lull and then Flux came out.
Yep.
Felt like there was kind of a lull and then Hanyan and, then Juan came out right after that. But open source video models that were actually, very much a step ahead came out.
Very good. Yeah, I know what you mean. The quality leap was huge. And I think this is the flux moment for video. It's just a matter of time now until open source removes the new moat.
Yeah. And which company's going to do it? Who knows? But I'm looking forward to it.
I put my money on Flux Video because if you go to Flux, you go to Black Forest Labs, they've had a waiting page there saying videos coming since like February.
Now's their time.
Or,
their
time.
Stable Diffusion, they can come out with a video out of nowhere,
True, there could be a new SVD. What do we know? It's very true, because that's been a while as well. Anything that's got a big date on it, anything that's got a bit of an age to it, is on my watch list. That's what I do.
Yeah. So if you guys are planning anything, let us know early. We'd love to test it, but also just drop your model whenever you can, because we're excited.
All right, nice one. I appreciate that. I will definitely do it. I'll give you a little ping when it's when it's out of the oven.
Yeah. Right on. Well, I hope everybody has a good weekend. Thanks again for coming on stream. This was, both fun, and I learned a lot. I took a few notes, and I'll absolutely check with the team on the training methods for Juan.
Thanks. I'd appreciate to know that.
I'm curious too, and we might as well optimize. Well,
hey, if they're not using it, that's a quick upgrade.
Yeah. But it might break the whole site too.
That's true.
So
maybe increase the bill by 10x.
Yeah. Right on. Well,
all right. Well, thanks so much for having me, man. I'm going to let you get away. I hope you all have a great evening, afternoon, or morning, depending on where you are. And if you're watching live or you're watching later, thanks again. See you all soon.
Right on. Have a good